Hi, welcome to this week's edition of Making Sense, the program that is designed to walk you through important news of the week and why it matters. And in this week, we have seen and heard about important issues that have caught a lot of people's interest. And what has caught yours?
In terms of political news, I would say the suddenly pop-up of Jatapon Pompai.
Oh. Well, he hasn't really exactly faded away from the political scene, but this week he has made headlines by saying that he intends to, reignite a mass movement against the government. In particular, he is looking to, form and the movement, a mass movement, to drive out the administration of General Prayut Chan-o-cha. So he has been, talking about political protests for some time, because he has done more or less, he's taken the role of the observer, in the past months. And he has been advising the youth-led movement under the banner of the Ratsadon group, which has been staging the protests against the government, since the beginning of, the middle of last year. And he's been advising them not to go there meaning not to, call for monarchy reform, right? And because his advice was more or less, for the Ratsadon movement to, set a clear boundary, and the boundary should stop with, the call for the ouster of General Prayut Chan-o-cha, for his resignation. And so he's now coming, leaping out from the ringside, so to speak, and right, and he's now making a call, right, to all those people, who feel unhappy with the way this country has been run, to meet him on April 4, and that has a lot of political critics and observers expecting that this is going to be the beginning of another mass movement against the government.
My question is, what is the reactions of the youth protester?
Well,
what do you say?
Yes. Because yeah, I know. There's a youth. There's one already established movement led by the Ratsadon group, and now we're talking about the formation of another, a likely formation of another mass movement, this time made up mostly of adult, potential protesters. And so I think what Mr. Jatapon has been doing, or is going to do, is to, revive the Red Shirt movement. But how much he can, a success he will have in doing that remains the question. Because, back in the days when, the Red Shirt movement was gaining strength, that was 10 years ago. And we're talking about the political condition back then and the political condition that is now. We're now so different, and so is the Red Shirt movement itself. Because right now a lot of the people are still faithful to the Red Shirt, the UDD. How many people are still, willing to come out on the streets to protest? And as we recognize that, in the past we've had more than one mass movement. So whether it is the UDD, the KPPS, or the People's Democratic Reform Committee, the PAD in the past, these mass movements, need a lot of resources, need a lot of manpower, and certainly need a lot of organizational skill to put together. So in order for them, these mass protests to become protracted, in order for them to be a sustained force, they need all of these factors, all of these important elements, manpower, resource, and the skills to organize. And are we going to have something like that here that is needed to revive the red shirts? And the more important question is, if you have this, even if you manage to muster up all of these efforts, to put together the red shirt, to bring back the red shirts, what about the Ratsadon, right? Because it is already here, right? They're not going to go anywhere, and they're still, a force to be reckoned with. And what is going to happen to them? Are these two mass movements going to merge?
I believe that it's always like the previous political protests. There will be different factions with different agenda, different goals.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow they just exchange resource, exchange protesters. I think I look at it in terms of benefits, win-win situations for both.
Well, I think if you look,
at least it shifts the discourse.
It's interesting. It is interesting to note, though, that the Ratsadon group, right? The protests, the young youth-led protesters, they're bound by a very clearly laid out goal of pursuing monarchy reform, which is something that Mr. Jatapon doesn't agree with. And so if Mr. Jatapon suppose he succeeds in reviving the red shirt movement, and I do doubt though that that revived movement is going to be able to merge with the youth-led protest group, because their aims are different. While on the one side, you want to stop, the Jatapon-led movement is going to stop at, just pushing for a resignation of General Prayut. On the other hand, you've got the youth-led groups demanding and still demanding monarchy reform. So it's like they're far apart. To me, they're far apart in the, in terms of the goals that they're pursuing. And are they going to be able to blend? They may be able to blend, but it's only going to serve the purpose of, piling political pressure, right? But then, in the end, they're going to have to. They might be going their separate ways, and we're talking about, the two people, right? Because, although they, may have, some common grounds, they may, because in trying to, reform the monarchy, the youth-led movement also also are pressing for, General Prayut's resignation. But the thing is, once you achieve that, what is going to happen next? Well, pushing someone out of the prime ministerial seat isn't just enough in this particular case. You need to have the political the charter amendment done right after that, because if you're going to have the election, you need new rules. Right? It's not like you're going to be holding the general election under the rules that we have now, and everything going back to the way we were or the way it was. No, it is not going to happen like that. This is not the way that these protesters want.
Well, I always believe that every campaign, political campaign itself is organic. And the question is blending. You need to try it. But I think it's a plus size for it's a positive change for the Ratsadon group itself, because they need some rejuvenations, they need some change, a shift, some dialogue, and maybe they need to learn.
But in reality, if you look at the Ratsadon protests in these many weeks, and you see that some of the wretched supporters have joined the Ratsadon rallies around the city, and they do lend the Ratsadon movement that impetus, that force, that energy, because it becomes very crucial at a time, when the Ratsadon groups, appear to be, possibly, getting smaller in numbers, right, compared to when they started out as mass movement in the beginning of, in the middle of last year. So they do need, I do, agree with you that the more people, right, joining the mass protests, the better it is for the organizers, the better it is for these movements, because they can then up their game, right? They have the more, because numbers do matter in organizing mass movements.
And image itself, it's important because he's interesting. His experience, he has been through a lot. He has been on the very extreme view. He went to prisons for his own political campaign, and then he just walked out and become more mellow, more mature, more pragmatic, willing to cooperate, reach out to different sides.
Yes.
I think he will more or less, he will add some positive change to the current political campaign protesting.
Yes.
I think it worth watching, really.
But it also raises an interesting question that if he succeeds in building up this anti-government campaign, right, and that campaign conducts a parallel rally, alongside the Ratsadon groups, and how are they going to be, his role would, what kind of role he would take. I mean, will he be able to, make an inroads into the Ratsadon group in the way that they're conducting their rallies? I mean, is Jatupan going to become one of the leaders of the Ratsadon? I mean, is he going to take up that kind of role, or will he be accepted into the fold of the Ratsadon groups? The ranks of the Ratsadon leadership. We don't know, but it's all things. Anything can happen. Anything can happen regarding. But one thing that is certain, and that is the government is going to find itself in a very, very tight spot, in the coming months. And I think as the temperature in Bangkok is set to soar, so is the political mercury, right? Next month is supposed to be the summer month, right? The hottest month of the year. We already feel that. And so we'll see how the political developments, what will transpire from what we're seeing now, right? And so let's hope for the best.
Right. Certainly he will create new momentum.
Right. So now it is also it has come to mind though that apart from the political issues that have been happening, the political events that have been happening, there's also in Bangkok a new attraction right?
Okay.
That a lot of people, who want to unwind and cool down the political temperature, right? Where do they go? They go to this very, well, I call it, one of the attractions, one of the news attractions in the city of Bangkok, and that is Klong Ong Ang.
Wow.
For a lot of people who are not familiar with Klong Ong Ang, could actually fill us in on its history and what has become of it now.
Okay, so we shift from political news, hot political news for cool down, tourism sites and cultural urban landscape development. I think many of us, our listeners or our viewers, are familiar with this Klong Ong Ang because the site itself just received, allow me to check again, year 2020 Asian Townscape Award from the UN Habitat Asia.
Right, Klong Ong Ang,
Klong
right?
Ong Ang.
So Klong Ong Ang, just a brief description. Klong Ong Ang is a canal in the city, right in the city, and it is 3 kilometers plus long, and it is stuck there right. It runs through the cultural, heart, one of the cultural, landmarks of Bangkok, and it is, surrounded by historical places of interest. Right, so that's why it's one of the it's become one of the main attractions, and has been developed into or transformed into an urban attraction. So why Klong Ong Ang of all places that has been developed?
Well, it's you have to walk down the memory lanes back to about 200 years ago.
Right.
King Rama I has ordered soldiers or people to we call it Klong Rop Muang. It's
right.
like you have when you have a town in old days, you have mode canals and circle it. It's
because Bangkok is has been dubbed the Venice of the East, so we are not called the Venice of the East, for no reason, right? That's because we're served by a comprehensive network of canals and waterways.
It's quite long.
Right.
It comes from Chao Phraya River from the Bang Lampu, and you go into the inner Ratanakosin area. You go to and you encircle, and you go and the canal itself ran out, flow out in the lower part of Chao Phraya.
Right.
In that the Klong itself it's have a different name, depends on where it passed. Or in Bang Lampu it's Klong Bang Lampu,
right.
And in this area it's run in Pahurat. It's near Yawarat, Khet Prenapon, Khet Sampantawong. It's so when you talk about Klong Ong Ang, you talk about only certain particular section 3.7 kilometer in that
right.
area. It's close to Pahurat, it's close to Old Market, it's commercial district, it's close to Chinatown.
Right.
It's surrounded by old vintage shop house, a lot of community. There is busy business activities and
right.
good food. Well, that's why, because before it become more photogenic like this, it has been under
but has it always been this pristine or very picturesque area all this time, or has it? Why then do we need a transformation?
Okay, it's like this about photogenics. I don't know whether or not people are familiar with Sapan Lake, but 30 or 40 years ago, Sapan Lake means a market that kids and people come to buy CDs and games and
what?
Cheap,
pirated goods.
Pirated goods there. Only it's a canal, but I went there once and before this version, and I tried to find a canal. I cannot
right.
because it's all covered by the market. and you go
Right.
there.
So, so you got a lot of people, you know, encroaching on
Right.
on the public area, and you know, from the pictures that we have seen, they a lot of the shops and the people just built their homes and their shops over the Klong, which is illegal, right? But they've been doing, and this you know, small shanty town was built right over the Klong, the canal, Klong Ong Ang.
Yes.
Right,
Yeah.
and then what happened?
And what happened? It's the playing of what we call gentrifications, or the trend of urban revitalizations that take place around the world, in Europe, in the United States, and but well, this project started in year 2005, I think. It is by BMA with the support of the previous government, General Youth. I remember went there. He went to South Korea to visit the famous canal called Shong Canal. Hopefully, I pronounced it correctly. Hopefully, and my apology if not. And it's this canal itself in the capital city of South Korea. It's very, very famous because.
I remember, yes, I do remember some of my friends taking a trip down to the Song Canal, and just like Klong Ong Ang, it didn't look like it's totally different the way it looks today, and you know how it looks you know years ago, and so a complete transformation has been made of that canal. And the same thing happened with Klong, Ong Ang. And so now that we have a Klong Ong Ang, that it is in the state that it is in, very, it's become one of the stylish areas.
You should come there and try to
because I saw, my friends, paddling the kayak, their kayaks along the. Well, it's not a terribly, big canal, right? But enough, right? It has enough room to accommodate the leisure, people.
Go sightseeing there.
Yes, visitors.
As well.
So, and along, on both sides of the canal, you've got shops, you've got the eateries.
Right. Local food.
Yes.
And crowd.
And on the weekends, it is almost always packed, especially in the evening when you take a stroll, a breezy stroll. Well, it doesn't look like doesn't look anywhere like it was before the development. So now that we have this landmark, Bangkok's new landmark, what's going to happen next? Are we going to see a similar development taking place in the city, similar to this Klong Ong Ang project?
Wow.
Anywhere else in Bangkok?
Good news. Hopefully, I cross my finger, it will be successful like the Klong Ong Ang. It's BMA just last year announced that it will copy the same model with the Klong in Sathorn area.
Oh.
Just but will be larger in terms of the budget.
Is this going to be another canal? Development transformation.
Whether or not you're familiar with a canal in Sathorn area, because it's much different. Because in Klong Ong Ang, you still you are able to see the evidence of a canal, right? But in the Klong Ong in Sathorn, it's almost transformed into the water drainage way.
Oh.
Right in the middle of the road,
so,
disconnect from human activity.
So when we're talking about two canals, serving different purposes, right? The one in the Klong Ong Ang, it's intertwined. It's surrounded by communities, by houses, chop houses. But in the one in Sathorn. What is it called again? Klong Narathiwat Ratchanakarin.
Instead of Sathorn, you go to
Right, it's straddled by the, it's in the middle of the road, of the two, in the middle of the traffic. But how on earth are you going to be able to develop that?
Indeed, they use the model of the famous Klong in Klong in South Korea, as well as the inspiration.
And the end result, is it going to be the same as the Klong Ong Ang, the new face, the facelift, Klong Ong Ang?
Well, for Klong Ong Ang, the BMA spent around 300 million for redevelopment. But
300 million baht?
Yes, for
wow.
Narathiwat Ratchanakarin, the budget will go to just like almost 1 billion.
Right.
For the whole 4.5 kilometers, but now
so more than 3 times the budget of transforming Klong Ong Ang.
Well, but now they just got only 8 million baht, and they will start very small at 200-meter sections in the Sathorn Road to Soi Narathiwat Ratchanakarin 7. But I still wonder, because canal, it's more than a park. You must have people interact. And
yes.
Office buildings.
That's what I'm thinking.
Across the roads, and at night, if you're familiar with that area, at night nobody goes.
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
Dark.
That's what I'm thinking. You've got well, this is the vision that I have of this project, of this Sathorn project. You've got supposedly a park. Right? Once it's transformed, it's going to become a park. Yes, you've got a park, and right in the middle of the road. You've got vehicles going, left and right alongside that, and you enjoy your, you relax and you spend your leisure time there, and after dark. In the evening, you need to dash off, go home, and the place is deserted because there's no life there. There's no totally unlike the Klong Ong Ang. You've got people on both sides. You've got the community, people actually living there, right? But it's totally different here. So it's going to operate only during the day, or.
I think this project has potential. And if it works, it will bring a massive change there, because there's a BTS station.
Right.
Close to BTS station. And you have on the Narathiwat Ratchanakarin, you have a BRT lanes, but daily there are people who live in that area came out jogging in the evening, because they have ample space and pavements, and if it develops, it works well, they will create more activities there. They will bring in more life, or more fun-filled activities, more buzz.
Well,
hopefully, I cross my finger.
I do too, because Bangkok needs all the green space it can get. Right, we seem to be lacking. We're not lacking. We seem to be short of, the green space. So the more green space we have, the more welcoming it is going to be for the city. So for this week's edition, we enjoyed the show, and then you hope you enjoyed it as much as we do. And until next time, it's goodbye for us. But before that, if you like us, you want to, press that like button. If you want to subscribe, do subscribe. And the comment, we're waiting for your comments. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.